Divine One, Royals of the Three Kingdoms, welcome to Solm Palace. I'm Seforia, the Queen of Solm.
It's an honor to meet you, Queen Seforia.
And you. Really, it's a treat. And a surprise. I never expected Fogado to bring the Divine Dragon here. Out of everything he's done on his outings, this is the most impressive.
I was just doing what any prince would do for his queen.
That's mom to you. My son tries to act so cool, so detached. Anyway, those introductions when you arrived, there were a lot of them. First you, Divine One, and then the Pyrenees, Brodian, and Illusian royalty. Quite the guest list. I was so overwhelmed I nearly fell off my throne.
You have my apologies. We're here about a very important matter.
Yes, you said. Fell Dragon Sombron's return. I had no idea all that was happening. And he created those creatures, That explains why they're so vicious.
But your palace hasn't been attacked by the corrupted? Or Illusian forces?
Oh, it has. We got rid of them.
I see. You got rid of them. Wait. Really? All of them?
You seem surprised.
I'm impressed. But certainly glad no one's breached the palace.
I'm sorry to hear the other countries are having a harder time of it. And Queen Lumera, I visited her in Lethos many times. She was always very gracious. Naturally, the Queendom of Solm stands with you in your war against the Fell Dragon.
Thank you. On that note, I have a request. The Ring of the Radiant Hero, which was entrusted to Solm. May I take it?
Of course. I'll get it right away. Wait. Where was it again? I haven't seen it for a while. Fogado, do you know where the ring might be?
No clue. Maybe it's in the doodad drawer?
Please, wait here a moment.
Oh! Okay.
The doodad drawer.
Has it been lying around in a musty cupboard this whole time?
This is one of the strongest emblem rings. I don't know what to say.
You know what? I just remembered. Timerra took it with her.
Timerra?
And my sister. Also the crown princess.
She's set to inherit my crown. And like Fogado, she's always out doing who knows what. To be fair, I acted the same when I was young. Anyway, she's been gone for days.
Probably on a camping trip. Oh, that sounds great right now.
So it's true. The Crown Princess and Prince aren't around much.
And she doesn't know when they'll be back.
We can look for Princess Timerra. Do you have any idea where she might be?
I think she was heading to the southern desert, in which case she'd set up camp in the oasis.
All right then, we'll head there.
You know, a trip to the oasis is just what I need. I'll pack my things.
Yeah, actually, Mom, how about you stay put?
Oh, all right. You kids go on without me. If you find Timerra, do summon the emblem, will you? I'd love to meet him. Be careful. It's already getting dark out.
Come on, everyone. I'll lead the way.
This meat is gonna hit the spot! I hope you're hungry for fun, cause that's what's on the menu first! And now, an exclusive performance from the one and only Timerra! I'll be performing my favorite song with my backup singers, Merrin and Panette.
Ready.
As am I. Hope you remember the words. And a 1 and a 2. Meat, meat, meaty meat, meat.
What have we here? A bunch of pretty birds squawking away in the night? Ha! Cheap, cheap.
Cheap is right. But there's nothing cheap about the ring that one has. Let's grab it.
Meaty, meaty, ah yeah. Meaty, meaty,
Hey, quit your con!
Who are you two?
Come on, wake up! What do you think? We're bandits! Bandits!
And what do bandits do? Take stuff, like your fancy ring there. Give it.
Oh.
Oh? Oh? That's all? You're in trouble. Really in it. Right now.
In it and surrounded by it. We've got monsters. Big fans of ours. These two and way more.
So, we asked nicely, but you had to make us mad. Now, we'll do this our way.
I saw a bonfire. That's gotta be her.
What were those strange sounds?
Timerra and her friends singing.
Oh. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. People call them the Racket of Solm for a reason. Weird that they stopped. An attack, you think?
Let's get over there and find out.
Timerra!
Oh, hey, Fagato.
So, you're Princess Timerra. Nice to meet you.
Don't tell me. You're the Divine Dragon, right? Fagato wouldn't have come here unless he found you first.
He wouldn't have... what?
Not important. We've got bigger stakes to roast. Have to deal with these bandits for a start. It'd really help if you could use your summoning powers on this ring.
The Ring of the Radiant Hero.
I've always wanted to meet the person who lives in here. Can you make that happen?
All right.
Great! And a 1, and a 2.
Fight on! Emblem of Radiance!
Dang, those arms! You're ready to fight!
I'm Ike. Make sure you use me wisely.
Thanks for your help, Ike. You'll be fighting alongside Princess Timerra in this battle.
Welcome to the Oasis. Chapters 10 through 12 are all quite unusual maps. Chapter 10 for its gameplay intensity, 11 for its narrative intensity, and 12 for its lack of intensity. Chapter 13's the end of that roller coaster. We're back to Ring Collection. The map's unusual. Water and land split down the middle, random junk in our way, and everyone's favorite mechanic, Fog of War. I'll be frank, this map can be a bit of a slog. There's a frustrating tension in its concept. The Southwest Village contains a rescue staff, one of the best rewards we've seen yet, so there's pressure to go fast. Fog of War, on the other hand, punishes you for taking risks. It's the sort of map that makes standard meat and potatoes player face Fire Emblem difficult. That's where the emblems come in, including our new friend Ike. With his ring, Timerra can destroy obstacles in a single hit. Truly awe-inspiring power, I know. And she's bulky enough an unpleasant surprise won't kill her. Her group runs ahead of you at the start. Gals, let's work as a team. Sit still for a minute and let me trade y'all some weapons. But there's no need to worry. If anything, we'll need to save the enemies from them. They make a great shot corps, baiting foes for your other units. Our new friends can't help us over the water, where a flyer armada bides their time. They're coded to attack in waves, and can offer an unwelcome surprise if you weren't expecting them and don't have vision on the coast. You can take the Chapter 7 approach, carefully baiting them into range of your land units, but we've gotten a lot stronger since then. Direct aerial combat's much more palatable. The best flyer effective weapon for enemy phase is a wind tome. A promoted Ivy with enough speed support doubles every flyer, and she easily two-shots with a forged Elwind. She can engage an entire side of the map, train a lot from enemies you often wouldn't even fight otherwise, and begin snowballing. It's a great introduction to what makes Ivy, especially with Lyn, a contender for Engage's best unit. Even if Griffin Pandreo could hit the benchmarks with 11 Sword, which he's about 15 magic short of doing, he needs more support for survival. If you were not using Ivy or the rare workable replacement, I'd keep a respectful distance from the coast. The clutter in land makes it easier to protect frail units and avoid ambushes. This can be the showcase Fagato never had, doing what Alcris did in Chapter 7 and Etier did in Chapter 3. he's not your only option. You have 2 engage bows if you get Lucina's Parthia, Lynn's Asher Storm for faraway foes, and bow proficiency for reclassing. It's a great map for feeding a training project. It's a bit pricey, but you can consider temporary Bow Knight for, say, Kagetsu, even if you plan on reclassing afterwards. If your Lyn user is grounded, the west side of the map's a perfect place for Speed Taker. You get 1 or 2 enemies a turn on the way to the rescue staff, and then there are several fast enemies to use your speed against. This map's where you start to fill Lyn's variety. Ivy just does Lynworn things, Zelkov has a 20 range Asher Storm and can dominate on enemy phase with no armor in sight, warriors can switch between bows and axes to cover their bases, and bulky units don't need bonded shield support. That might open up Parthia for a training project. Even Call Doubles is quite useful here, due to Fog of War and 1-tile choke points. In a nutshell, with Lyn Ivy, grab some popcorn while she pops off, and use Ike and Lucina to the south to protect your front line against the unseen danger. Without that aerial firepower, I'd suggest keeping your army connected, using your enemy phase tools to safely draw in foes you can't see, and cleaning up on player phase. Without DLC, you have half the emblems you did before Chapter 10, but each has a lot of mechanical depth. This map gives you some space to refine your tactics. I've offered more advice than usual because it's a tricky map. As always, especially now, you shouldn't be afraid to get creative and figure out what works for you. With my team, I can take an all-of-the-above approach. Performing the role of Lyn Ivy today, we have Camilla Mage Knight Anna. She just barely has the speed she needs here. That's why I made sure she got training in the last 2 maps. Anna's a lot frailer than Ivy, so she'll need more support. That'll be a Lucina Engraved Elwyn for High Avoid, and Tiki's Divine Blessing as a backup. I'd rather not have DLC-only strats dominate the series, but here I can have my cake and eat it too. We'll see what giving Lyn to Ivy might look like, while also showing what a grounded Lyn team can do. I'm giving Lyn and Lucina to Citrinne and Lapis. They are already friends, after all. Since I'm so magnanimous, I'm even giving the Citrinne the Spirit Dust from Chapter 9 I've been waffling on. It will save me some fortune. Amber and Timerra will be on demolition duty. Chloé, reunited with Veronica, will handle stays along with Ivy. Ivy needs 6 movement for that, so with the Chapter 12 Master Seal, we'll finally get her in Lindworm. My team will change classes frequently, but I don't have any reclasses planned for Ivy. It's a real credit to her that she makes sense even on a team with units like Citrinne and Anna already doing similar things. We can no longer heal up our entire army one turn and light up the entire map the next, so you do want to make sure you're properly adjusting your team composition for the loss of Micaiah. Even with 2 staff users, we'll need healing items. Our other units will join up with Timerra's retainers and hug the coastline. Alir's getting to know our new army and inspiring them as usual. I promise she won't be stuck with Spur Attack for every map. Jean's on a different kind of support duty. He's our Tiki user for supporting Anna. He'll be able to squeeze out another Star Sphere level before I move Tiki off him so he can stick to archery. My average clear of this map is not especially smooth. Working out a cleaner approach for the series was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy.
What's that? More? Those cheap birds must have gone con for help. Phooey! That's what I say. They won't beat our monsters.
That's right. Not to mention our thieves. Experts in the art of ransackery.
They're gonna attack the village. We have to stop them before anybody gets hurt. Merrin, Panette, come on!
As you command, my princess. We'll crush them with the hammer of justice.
Indeed, they shall sorely regret terrorizing these poor, innocent people.
Ready and able.
From this tile, northeast of the obstruction, Illum shows every enemy near the start. It's a good spot to remember. Remember when Illum lit up the whole map? Remember Haya Papaya? Those were better days. Amber and Timerra start demolishing obstacles. Speaking of...
The way forward is blocked, but not for long. Go, Timerra. With my strength, you'll have no problem opening up a path.
This is the last time in Engage we get 3 units and an emblem all at once. Let's meet our new recruits. Ike marks a return to the normal power level of emblem rings. He's good, but not game-breakingly so. He's all about bulk, boosting HP, strength, and defense. While engaged, his skill Lagoo's Friend halves incoming damage. In terms of raw stats, few abilities can hope for a higher ceiling. What's more, damage reduction is a good fit for Madden AI. It's a shame it sets your avoid to 0, so you can't combine it with dodge tanking, but given how complex those calculations can get, it's refreshing to have a unit whose survival depends on simple addition. Resolve gives you a big defense and resistance buff when you get hit. Great Ether gives you another big durability boost for a single exceptional enemy phase, and lets you attack with a strong melee weapon at 1-2 range. As I've discussed previously, the marginal value of defense and resistance increases the more of it you have, up until you take no damage. Going from taking 4 damage to 2 doubles your bulk, but going from 14 to 12 may not even matter. That means on maddening, given high enemy stats, Ike is usually best on units who are already durable. He lets someone like Timerra, who takes a few hits, take a lot of hits. That's not easy to replace, and there's often no alternative to Ike for some specific maneuver. Great Ether in particular really works with the tempo I often find myself playing with. A common strategy is to bait enemies with a tank, hopefully thin them out on enemy phase, and then have frail player phase units clean up. Often the only unit who can survive an enemy group is your Ike user. Unlike Bondage Shield, Ike doesn't rely on manipulating enemy targeting to be effective, and he doesn't require a second unit to hold his hand. Like Override, as a single-hit physical attack that can hit many enemies at once, Great Ether's good as a way to weaken foes, and amazing as a way to one-shot a bunch of them. Axes are the best weapon type you can get for hitting those benchmarks, and you can forge Greataxes that will let you cleanly annihilate a surprising amount of enemy groups. The Hurricane Axe is also an awesome curveball against flying foes. The effective might is so high, even total non-mages still sometimes use it to hit thresholds they couldn't otherwise. It's also worth noting that Great Ether effectively makes a unit immune to being broken, and because the attack really happens on the next player phase, it works with abilities like Speed Taker. Ike's engage weapons are interesting. His hammer is a smash weapon, unlike the standard hammer. You might expect a smash weapon with effective damage to actually kill generals the way the Hurricane Axe shreds flyers, but that happens less than you'd think. If nothing else, it's a big axe anyone can use. Irvin gives a passive resistance buff, great for baiting mages safely. Ragnell at bond rank 15 is the real prize. A 1-2 range sword like Roy's Binding Blade, it can let a unit with excellent stats dominate on enemy phase. It's heavy, and Ike doesn't offer speed, so it's not always able to double. Even so, its passive defense buff helps against the scariest enemy groups. Wrath's the last important skill. It's nice on bulky Ike users who struggle to one-round. You can see how lucky you get swinging 10 times on enemy phase. If you get unlucky, you're probably fine. It really shines when it's the last crit bonus you need. You just got a unit who, with Wrath, can achieve 100 crit before factoring in dexterity. That's exceptional, and it enables incredible enemy phases. Just to cover my bases, I'll go through the rest of his kit. Demolish is, fittingly, rubbish. Even on his join map, constructed to make Demolish good, it sucks. Reposition is one of the only movement tools in Engage, and it has a ton of uses if you look for them. Both these skills are a little awkward on Ike, because he's often best as your vanguard. Units should be helping him charge into enemy lines, not vice versa. Reposition in particular has significant utility, but I'm normally too attached to my team members to make them spend their turns moving other units to squares. It's sometimes worth it even on your Ike user though, especially with flyers. It's a lot more than 2 squares if you're crossing an otherwise impassable gap. Ike's easy to overlook once you realize how powerful Lucina is on enemy phase. That's not to say he's totally outclassed, because sometimes you need a unit to survive alone or already have Lucina doing something else. Ike's maybe not the easiest solution to every problem, but he can solve a lot of problems other emblems can't. You shouldn't be afraid to move him around your army. Most of his value comes from Lagoo's Friend and Great Ether. That's all bond rank 1. He's mostly giving your unit simple stat bonuses, so if your main Ike user doesn't need him on a map, you should consider if anyone else would appreciate him. As the game goes on, he's arguably the simplest way to build enemy phase units, but maybe never the most efficient. Fittingly for his character, he's straightforwardly good without any fuss. Another royal joins the party. Timerra is, like most royals, fairly well-rounded statistically. In her personal class, you'll find there's no one, well, except Kagetsu, with better combined speed and defense. Factoring in enemy doubles, she's one of the bulkiest units in the game. Her Achilles heel is offense. Even units like Lapis, Fram, and Alir have better raw damage, and that's a pretty low bar. If you prefer playing at a more relaxed pace or on lower difficulties, Timerra is a breath of fresh air. Her join map's a great microcosm of her psychological value. If you have a team of glass cannons held together with duct tape and bondage shield, a single mistake often proves fatal. Timerra, bundled with Ike, offers a much larger margin of error. If you up the difficulty and up the tempo, Timerra's weaknesses loom larger. Future maps have enemies packed like sardines and waves of reinforcements. Often, we can't afford anything less than eliminating enemies in one round. Timerra is far, far away from those benchmarks. She needs Ike's hammer just to win around the unpromoted mages on her join map. Her poor build means she constantly struggles between keeping her good speed and dealing double-digit damage. If you reclass out of Picket to try and fix these problems, you're not going to get anything a bunch of other units can't do as well or better. Those juice class bases are what gives her a niche in the first place. As I said in Louis' analysis all the way back in Chapter 4, you can often find ways to beat maps that don't rely on bulk. The more you play engaged, the less you need the margin for error Timerra builds in, and the more offense is the best defense. Having a unit bait enemies just to do minor ship damage isn't bad, but you can do better. With that kind of unit, chain attacks are nice, but Timerra has tough competition from Brave Assist heroes in that department. Hey, wait a minute, what class skill does Picket get? Oh, I've gotten this all wrong. Timerra is not bulky Lapis, she's tank Alchrist. Ready to roll the dice? Sandstorm lets Timerra focus on stacking defense and still hit offensive benchmarks, hopefully. Where Alchrist uses 2 range to safely fish for skill procs, Timerra relies on that bulk. The result is a fun casino build that doesn't require much investment. Promote Timerra to Picket, get her to level 5, stack defense, and put her in range of a bunch of enemies. Then see how many she'll kill on enemy phase. Her personal ability makes sense for this sort of build, adding reliability to long enemy phases. In games without rewind, small crit chances are a lot scarier, but in Engage, Racket of Solm isn't a big deal, even if it can be handy. If I can be reasonable for a second, like I was with Alchrist, relying on proc skills is not an easy way to beat maddening. Sandstorm will never be reliable, and sometimes you can't afford to leave enemies alive. Also hard to live with what you give up to maximize Timerra. Other units can go for guaranteed KOs with Roy or Ike and become one of your best units. Sacrificing that for a merely good unit can be tough. Timerra loves the DLC because it removes this logjam for physical enemy phase emblems. 3 houses and Hector give strength and defense, exactly what Timerra wants. My favorite pairing is Tiki. Timerra goes from an all-around frontliner to fantastic against one-range enemies. Eternal Claw crits combined with Sandstorm procs are very fun. As a vegetarian with working ears, I admit I didn't have a great first impression of Timerra the character. She's easy to overlook on the battlefield as well. Rankings made by experienced veterans who eschew the DLC and value reliably hitting benchmarks sometimes put Timerra dead last. I've seen it suggested she has nothing to offer a serious team. That's definitely not true, and as often there's more to the story if you look deeper. After her join map, the game shows us Timerra the character has more on her mind than ear-splitting singing and grilling steaks. She's still very much a crown princess. For Timerra the unit, I'm not going to pretend LOL Sandstorm is some kind of 200 IQ game plan no one else understands, but I do think it's easy to underrate how good it can be and how much fun you can have with it. If you're making careful plans and would curse your luck every time Timerra misses a Sandstorm proc, maybe find a different unit. If not, using Timerra can be one of the best decisions you make in a campaign. Say hello to Merrin. I've been looking forward to this recruitment, but I'll admit writing this analysis has been more difficult than you'd think. Merrin seems simple. She's simply amazing at everything except raw damage, for which she's merely above average. You'll never see utter domination quite like the stats I rattled off for Kagetsu again, but Merrin gets as close as anyone. If we put everyone in Wolf Knight and train them to Merrin's level, there are 5 units without a single stat over her. Alir, Ulchrist, Alfred, Lapis, and Jade. Ulchrist doesn't even get a tie. The easiest way to get a feel for Merrin's stats is comparison with Lapis, who loses by, are you ready for this? 3 HP, 1 strength, 4 magic, 4 dex, 2 defense, 1 res, 1 luck, and 3 build. The two don't have a single growth more than 5% apart. Timerra has nearly identical growths, and in Wolf Knight wouldn't have a single stat over Merrin despite having 2 extra levels. To put it bluntly, if a unit isn't one of the overtuned pre-promotes and they don't have exceptional strength or magic, Merrin has their stats but better. I think of Merrin as what you'd get if Chloé were a pre-promote. Chloé only escaped the above comparisons through single point leads in HP and luck, but Merrin's still a full 10 points ahead. Those two are, to me, Engage's best generalists. Merrin's completely foolproof in terms of class and emblem choice. She can just steal most builds I've suggested in this series and do them better than the unit I pitched them for. You could close your eyes and pick a build and she'd be worth deploying. I guess my job here is done, right? Easy peasy. Here's the thing, I still want to recommend something in particular, and that's harder than you'd think. Merrin has maybe the largest gap in Engage between her raw numbers and impact on the metagame. For physical builds, Merrin's often a firm second best, but always second. Kagetsu has a couple important points in strength and defense, among other things. On the magical side, she's again at best second to Pandreo, and without the DLC she can't actually access any of the premier magic classes for a while. She's better than Chloé and Sword Griffin, but only when she gets there. Even when she can reclass into Griffin, Mage Knight, or Sage, you generally don't need more than 1 Bondage Shield recipient, and there aren't any emblems that give magic and bulk. Her extra stats over Pandreo don't end up mattering. His starting proficiencies and slight magic lead do. If Kagetsu weren't an Engage, Merrin would probably be the consensus best physical unit. The ball of stats game plan with an emblem like Roy and a good class like Wyvern works almost as well with her, and without the impossible standards set by Kagetsu, we'd all be very grateful for Merrin's exceptional stats. Similarly, if she had a faster path to magic classes and less stiff competition from Pandreo, she'd be arguably Engage's best Bondage Shield sweeper in Sword Griffin or Mage Knight. It's amazing how powerful Anchoring is. A unit who straight up outclasses most of the game's units has a single competitor who legitimately clears her in physical combat, and at most a couple in magical combat, and all of a sudden she's easy to overlook. This is the Merrin problem. Why is this script sounding pessimistic? I've said a lot of nice things about units who are, if I can be frank, basically Merrin but worse. The thing is, I don't expect greatness from Lapis every run. She has weaknesses, can you imagine? Merrin's always good, but she often feels overqualified for whatever job she's doing. I'll try to find a role that really maximizes her talents. I don't know what Merrin's best class is. How do you even compare Warrior and Griffin? But I'm looking for the most Merrin class. Something that isn't just a worse version of what Kagetsu or Pandreo offer. That means mixed offense. Merrin's combo of strength and magic isn't shared by the other overtuned pre-promotes. If you plan to put her in Griffin or Mage Knight when available, instead of trying to make her Pandreo but worse, you want to lean into her flexibility. With different effective weapons and both physical and magical options, she can hit a lot of individual benchmarks, albeit with more prep work than using a single weapon for everything. She'll also have a good case for best martial master in the game later on, like all the other units I've suggested the build for, but with more stats. For a unit who can do anything, waiting for a while to get staff proficiency isn't the worst thing in the world. I do feel like there's a reason Merrin hasn't bothered to learn how to use tomes yet. It's just, not cool enough, is it? You know, maybe the developers were onto something putting her in Wolf Knight. Merrin's the only one we'll get, after all, so they probably wouldn't give an entirely new class to a unit who didn't fit it. Let's see how Wolf Knight Merrin shapes up. Merrin's quote-unquote weakness is damage, so with a high might forged dagger she's an offensive powerhouse. With Wolf Knight's anti-mage stats plus her exceptional personal bases, Merrin's a natural counter to mages, at least the ones not carrying Thunder Tomes. Mages aren't the only frailer ranged units Merrin excels against. Many archers, enemy dagger users, and griffins have benchmarks Merrin hits better than anyone, at least until Kagetsu gets dagger access. It's difficult to scale up to the point Merrin's one-rounding bulkier units, however. There's no knife power, and once you get a +5 dagger, you can't keep boosting damage in the smithy. Wolf Knight has more magic than most classes, though, and the units daggers simply don't work against often fear a forged Levin sword. Enemy-faced juggernauts need to pick a weapon and stick with it. Merrin struggles to do that late game. Instead, I'd think of what you're getting as a specialist who doesn't rely on her specialty. She'll be great wherever her fast offense and 1-2 range are needed, and a fantastic mage killer, but she'll never have a turn she can't meaningfully contribute the way someone like Fagato might. If you're looking for a way to keep Merrin dominating throughout the game, I'd suggest leaning on engage weapons. Erika's a natural fit for Merrin's stats, and late game you'll have the powerful Sieglinde to dominate the corrupted enemies that fill the last few maps. Celica also makes sense for a mixed unit, and with Seraphim, Merrin can dominate at 1-2 range. Merrin's also one of the best Binding Blade users in the game, and yet again Roy gives units a little of everything. Once you have one of those weapons, dagger access no longer matters as much, so you should consider reclassing to something better suited for the build. Wyvern, Mage Knight, the usual. I think Erika's my pick, as the emblem Merrin uses better than anyone else. None of the other pre-promotes can use Erika's mixed stats quite like Merrin, and Sieglinde gives you fantastic scaling right through endgame, even as her 25 offensive growths falter. I'm also a fan of a more supportive approach, giving her Lucina. Poison is applied during chain attacks, but there aren't no backup units with daggers. Using Lucina to circumvent that, Merrin can apply 10% HP and poison to any enemy within 8 squares due to Wolf Knight's movement and dagger range. As a cavalry unit, she has 100% bonded shield activation rates with other cavalry units. Merrin's personal skill is finicky to set up. Merrin herself doesn't count, and both units need to be within 2 squares of her. But it isn't selfish, which is both incredibly rare and fantastic. Lapis's bonus is bigger, giving hit avoid +10 when a single unit is adjacent, but it's just her, and it's also with -10 crit. Merrin can give Lapis an extra +5 hit avoid on top of share spoils. I'd think of it as a kind of support. While Knightly Escort doesn't activate dual support, Merrin has a real support list too, and with that active she's incredibly evasive and reasonably bulky. You can easily make enemies avoid her and target your bonded shield sweepers. Merrin can then apply poison to bosses, perhaps inheriting Draconic Hex. Even without great primary combat, she really needs better damage for that. With Lucina's effective weaponry, a dagger forge, and a Levin sword, she'll be able to handle many tough enemies on your terms. It's a versatile package that costs very little. I'll again emphasize that Merrin's exceptionally flexible. I felt she deserved a more in-depth look at some of her best options, but she's a unit you shouldn't be afraid to have wear different hats. If you have a single emblem remaining to fill out your team, give them to Merrin and you'll be fine. If you're trying to do something offbeat, Merrin's often a good unit for the job. With some planning, sending Merrin on a whirlwind tour of different classes can let your more one-dimensional units stick to their guns. I'd think of her as kind of the foil to Jean. Instead of a unit who can fill any role with lots of effort, she's a unit who shows up after most of your team's already set, ready to plug any gaps you might have. If you were waiting for the sequel to Kagetsu, Merrin's the best you're gonna get. She's more than ready to take the spotlight. If you don't want her to steal her allies' thunder, she can be one of the most versatile support units in the game without a single steal or SP buck. She's one of my favorite characters. Christina V does a great job portraying her earnest commitment to the bit, so I'm happy she's so easy to field. All of the elite units have a place on any team, but Merrin's someone I'll take the extra step of giving my personal recommendation. The Merrin experience isn't something I've found in any other game besides Engage. Merrin's just cool. Don't you want to be cool? It's about time we got a little more muscle. Meet Panette. Panette's the last of the 4 great pre-promotes. Her numbers are just a cut above. Unlike the others, who struggle most with raw damage, Panette has no problems on that front. She literally joins with the highest strength for any unit from now till endgame, and she's tied for the highest growth. She may need a few levels to catch up to a Juggernaut Louis or Amber, but the next few chapters make it easy to feed her kills. Raw strength can carry you a long way in Engage, and Panette's at the top of the strong unit food chain. Don't tell Amber I said this, but the easiest way to think of Panette is as Amber without his weaknesses, plus exceptional HP. We just got Ike, an emblem with an Engage attack that hits 12 squares in a single blow. Unless you're part of Alpaca Nation like me and have an Amber with stat boosters and a level lead, Panette is usually the unit with the best chance of hitting those satisfying one-shot thresholds. Her massive HP synergizes with Ike's bonuses, and with him she has no problem surviving enemy phase. Other engage attacks also work well when you're using them off of Panette's strength. She generally wants a reclass out of Berserker. Compared to Warrior, the one extra point of strength isn't worth the loss to accuracy, speed, and defense, not to mention bow access. Not like we have any S-rank access right now. Warrior also makes sense because it's the class that unlocks Panette's signature build. Warriors using Leaf can go for 100 crit, stacking Ike's Wrath on Adaptable and a crit engraving. There are no killer 1-2 range weapons in Engage, but Leaf lets you use both a killer axe and a killer bow, never going past the level 10 bond conversation, so Leaf's Master Lance never enters the equation. With Vantage, if you strike first in one shot, you can solo entire maps. Panette's uniquely good at this. Her personal ability gives extra crit when damaged, which is perfect. It's often the last 10 points you need for that satisfying 100 hit, 100 crit. Unlike Etier, Louis, and Amber, she has good dexterity. Late in the game, she has enough of a lead over Amber, it's as if she has Aspiring Hero all the time. She has great HP to proc Wrath safely, and she's as strong as they come. Panette also joins at the ideal time to set this up. You can get her to Wrath while training with Ike over the next few maps, where she'll easily be one of your best units. And then after Chapter 17, we'll get Leaf back and you're off to the races, inheriting Wrath with Panette's natural SP, equipping Leaf, and readying your forges. You even get a second skill slot, extra hit, holdout, extra damage, or canter. It says a lot when a unit's good enough, canter may not be their best option. Because most units can only do a pale imitation of Panette in this build, she sometimes feels like 1.5 great units. Panette herself, and then whoever gets the coveted emblem Panette would have taken otherwise. You can get Vantage Wrath going by inheriting Vantage instead, keeping Ike, but then you lose Adaptable and range control. That's a tough sell unless you reclass to use daggers, which don't have as high base crit. Speaking of daggers, I should probably mention Panette has them for her innate proficiency, letting her reclass to daggers without waiting for leave. It's easy to focus only on what weapons an innate proficiency unlocks, in which case S-rank daggers with Wolf Knight feels lackluster, but I'd see it instead as the game giving you a larger set of classes for her right out of the box. As soon as next map, Wolf Knight Panette feels like a breath of fresh air compared to the complexity of Vantage Wrath. You send her into enemy range, she takes a hit, and she hits like a truck in return. If you're interested in pushing daggers as far as they can go, Panette's your woman. With enough stat stacking, Panette's capable of one-rounding anything but heavy armor at 1-2 range. You don't even need to go for crits, but with Ike you can certainly try. Those are the Panette specialties, game plans other units struggle to emulate. That's what I normally focus on, but it's worth mentioning that she's also great in other roles units like Etier, Louis, and Amber get. With Lynn's speed, she'll terrify enemies. It's a very fun version of the Warrior Lynn concept. She's sort of overqualified for the engage attack button pressure builds, because strength's the only thing that matters for those. Louis can do the same overrides despite his other deficits. But if you want a unit to do a big twin strikes, Panette won't let you down. The DLC lets her reclass into Halberdier immediately, for which her natural dex means a lot compared to Louis or Amber without Aspiring Hero. You can see why they gave those guys lance proficiency. Panette's dagger proficiency means, quite unusually, she's not dying to go in the Wyvern. Other units outdamage her with brave weapons or silver smash weapons in their proficiency. Wyvern Panette's amazing, don't get me wrong, but it's not what I'd do if I were trying to maximize Panette herself. In many previous games, flight is absolutely non-negotiable for fast play, but not so in Engage. If you look at who the players pushing the game to its limits turn to for the very hardest maps, you'll see a lot of Warrior Panette bashing skulls in. Panette affects elegance, but she's Engage's only native Berserker, and her personal is called Blood Fury. Deep down, she just wants to Hulk smash. Who can't relate to that? She excels at most physical combat, but I think you're best off Hulk smashing. Kagetsu, Pandreo, and Merrin are units so good at so many things they have a niche on any team. Panette's similarly good, but in a different way. She's the undisputed queen of strength builds, exceptional enough that giving her the relatively uncontested tools she wants makes any team better. Alir will rush towards Timerra's group, with a good old Levin sword to activate Canter. Merrin is almost great here, but she needs a little more damage. Taking the Sigurd engraved Levin sword and Folkvanger from Alir sets her up for success. She'll show off that mixed offense by one-rounding the Axe Fighter. Anna easily picks off the first enemy. Camilla's extra movement compared to someone like Ivy means she's actually in position to start fighting for the skies next turn. Jean gives Anna her insurance policy and canters closer to Timerra's group. He'll be sure to stay adjacent to Anna for Geosphere, which makes Anna's next turn reliable. We're leaving a promoted Swordmaster with 23 speed alive. We don't want him to go into a thicket and start doing the Kagetsu impression. Panette, the trooper she is, will take a sword to the face to avoid such a scenario.
Of course.
I gave Citrinne Bond rank 3 for Speed Taker. She can get that going by using Astral Storm. On the flyer, you get the sense is put here precisely for this purpose. He'd normally go after Timerra, who can't double or one-round him, so this is important.
Need to get stronger until no one can.
Chloé can then give Citrinne another turn to Elfire the Axe Fighter. We'd be happy to do that on enemy phase, except for that we want the Speed Taker proc.
A good wind.
Lapis could have moved first, but Citrinne was already perfectly accurate. She'll do our first real bondage shield. Brings a tear to my eye. Merrin's Knightly Escort is the reason I chose female Alear, because both Alears had the same supports. About time, if you ask me. There's only two differences between male and female Alear. Female Alear can second seal into flyer, which is normally a very bad idea and does not matter at all. The more important consideration is personal skills. These generally favor female Alear. Louis' admiration, not that I ever used it, relies on two female allies. Many of the early female units besides Chloé aren't frontliners, so Fairy Tale Folk is usually easier with female Alear. Rosado and Goldmary both have abilities that proc only against male foes, and then we have Knightly Escort. Thanks to standard arena training, Citrinne gets a level up here. That level up just so happens to give her another point of speed, which just so happens to let her one-round a sniper. Just to really cover my bases, I'll note Chapter 24 has a few interactions that depend on Alear's gender and favor male Alear, but that's irrelevant for the vast majority of runs. I'll emphasize that which model and voice you have for dozens of hours matters far, far more than tiny RNG differences. Think of this as fun trivia, not serious reasons to pick female Alear, unless you're making a video series about small stuff in Engage and think both Alears are fantastic. There's a lot of crap in the way over here. Isn't this fun? We're having fun. I should shout out my favorite alpaca boy. It's not easy to hit the 50 physical attack benchmark you need to one-shot this barricade. Chloé is going to summon Hero here. We need them to attack 8 tiles away from Chloé herself. That can be a 5 movement unit who gets put a tile farther away from Chloé due to my positioning and has 2 range, a promoted flyer with 2 range, or a promoted cavalry unit with 1 range. I believe blue is the best chance for this, because there's an extra Royal Knight summon that other classes don't have.
I wonder what hero will arrive.
We have plenty of options to advance the RNG here. Citrinne can take out her next victim, proccing Speed Taker and making room for Amber's next turn. You'll never guess what he'll do.
I need to get stronger until no one can beat me.
Alrighty then, next up is Anna's attack. She just barely hits the threshold with Chaos Style, so she needed to be in range of this guy in player phase. With a level up, she gets an extra point of speed, which is enough for everyone else. It's worth mentioning that a small speed plus inherit is quite cheap. I'm trying to limit my stat stacking to build in some margin and force myself to think of things like using Chaos Style, but if you're interested in replicating this strategy, a simple speed +2 will help out a lot. Time for Veronica to cooperate, which she did with no trouble in my playtesting because it's really not too much to ask.
I wonder what hero will arrive.
So much for that. Now I don't even know what my next attack is. Alear chips the Swordmaster and activates Canter.
Allow me.
From this position, she can support Merrin with +5 attack against the Sword Flyer, which helps Anna's survival chances and feeds Merrin some XP.
You will be mine. On guard.
A javelin! We did it! Man, I thought having Veronica summon do something more interesting than stand in place would be fun, but I don't know how many places I'll even have this many ways of burning random numbers. Jean needs to clear the path. With Archer Jean's Dex on top of Tiki's boost and Alear's support, this is a 100% reliable attack against the Swordmaster. Most units are not so lucky. Merrin gets ready to duel the Flyer. The +high damage from Alear is necessary here. Only strength and magic boosts apply for destroying obstructions, so Alear doesn't help there. I could have forged a dagger, but this is where my hero comes in clutch. Panette's badly wounded, and I was kind of stuck here originally because I had it in my head I needed to heal Panette with Merrin's elixir, and that doesn't really work out. It turns out offense is the best defense. The fighter up here has a Greataxe, so if Panette wounds him this turn, she can finish the job on enemy phase. Giving Chloé those Seraph robes is the gift that keeps on giving. Thanks to the reprisal setup, sucker. This is the big Anna enemy phase. If she gets hit by a ton here, she needs to dodge next turn. She's doing great though, so she'll be able to player phase the scary wyvern without healing.
Were you raised by wolves? Poor thing. Glad that's over with.
I know everyone's here for this riveting destruction gameplay. More fun is a Vague Bondage Shield. Citrinne gets yet another speed taker and positions next to another sword fighter. This way, enemies see chain attacks against her and won't go for anyone else.
A good wind.
Lapis takes her position, making some room for us. One little detail to note, the sword fighter next to Citrinne actually has an armor slayer, which would normally mean he attacks Lapis. Lapis is so bulky that, with a javelin to activate Arm Shield Plus, this already sees more damage against Citrinne. That's not something you see every day. I don't think these enemies have break AI, but I won't give them a chance. Ivy trades Amber a lance and takes a pot shot at the sniper. Contract lets Ivy take another shot, and on her second attempt she would have 93 hit because of single-minded. Ivy came in clutch though, so no worries. On the coast, everyone just moves up. Something I didn't know until I tried it in this map is that you can actually pick up loot with Veronica's summon. You go straight to the convoy. I've been thinking about the way Engage coheres together, mechanics, narrative, and themes, in a slightly different way than the previous few Fire Emblems, and now's a good time to talk about it. Playing Three Houses, I fell in love with the feeling of growth I got watching the students gradually blossom, both as anime chess pieces and as people. You gain new skills through time served with a class or weapon type, so across your team there's always something you could unlock if you played another map. Whether you're getting a late recruit with mismanaged weapon ranks or seeing what happens to everyone post-time skip, the game constantly reinforces the idea that Byleth's guidance, your choices down to every last lesson, is what lets your wards become their best selves on and off the battlefield. In Engage, weapon ranks are solely determined by innate proficiency in class. Skills can be unlocked slowly through building bond ranks, and I'm leaning into that this series because I like that feeling. But you can also buy them. That's the kind of thing other games lock behind New Game Plus, situated as one step removed from hacking or save. The kinds of game-breaking skill combos you'd get in Fates or Three Houses through many turns building points and a sophisticated understanding of the game are more or less handed to you in Engage. You don't even have to look up what gives what. Unlike previous titles, Engage tells you what bond ranks will unlock ahead of time. That more cookie-cutter approach gives Engage a more careful choreography than previous games. People often cite this as the fundamental trade-off of its design. The first hard map after the story gut punch of Three Houses can feel awesome as you see how your students have grown. The problem is that, especially in Maddening, a poorly built team can be virtually soft-locked. And I have a hard time recommending Maddening for a first run of Three Houses the way I can Engage. I'm not sure how possible it is to thread that needle. If one player can honestly say they were gratified to see their preparation made all the difference, another can say they got stuck because of insufficient preparation, and the less the game can design around specific tactical ideas. This map isn't about how much Alir has grown, or how much Alir's tutelage has helped Lapis grow. It's about how much you should appreciate your new friends, and how fun using them to beat this map can be. Because those new friends are the same every run, whether you're building your team entirely around fashion choices or making a video series like this one. I know anyone can smoothly clear this map, no matter what they did before Chapter 10, by rearranging their cookie-cutter pieces to make different shapes. I mean, look at how hard I tried to have Lapis grow, and the result's still a unit who's playing support so Kagetsu doesn't take her job. Even the kill she's gonna get with a Tiki engraved Greataxe is just so she can get damage to proc favorite food. Some people bounce off Engage because of the feeling that your work doesn't matter. You watched this series and learned about the game's innermost workings and grinded with Mercurius, so why is Lapis still second place to friendly Rice Ball Sword Boy? Why is my fancy momentum quad hit skill combo taken away from me the instant I unlock it? I can empathize, this isn't the only Fire Emblem game I like, and Three Houses or Fates definitely scratch a different itch. For me, however, Engage does a couple things to offset the downsides of a more rigid scaffold, and I think the game doesn't get enough credit for them. It helps that Engage's mechanical shifts are in service of, frankly, based themes. There's one thing I think Byleth supports say about them, it's that they're a gifted mentor. Their guidance makes people better. I don't see that in Alir supports. Instead, I see a great friend who's exceptionally adept at building relationships. It's worth noting that Alir's closest parallel to Instructor, Byleth's moniker in this game, isn't Divine Dragon or Super Smart Genius Mentor or Badass God Warrior. It's the simple connector. That's what Alir does best. For a game with a deity protagonist, that's a profoundly cool message. It's echoed throughout the game. Characters like Amber remind me it's okay to make silly mistakes, and that if you have the strength to temper your pride, other people can help you overcome your flaws. That's a lesson I think everyone stands to learn from. Byleth never managed that for me. The game gives these ideas teeth by never giving you more permanent power than your 2 skill in hands. You're always beholden to the ebb and flow of the emblem's power. At each chapter's start, Speed Taker's inactive. For 3 out of every 4 turns, you won't have Great Ether. Struggle as you might, when the number next to Lucina hits 0, your mage is mortal once more. You have to constantly think about those limitations, and in doing so you're constantly reminded that it's not Lapis's bondage shield. She doesn't have it because I'm a good commander, or because Lapis is a gifted warrior, but instead because we asked Lucina nicely. If that isn't enough, the game's narrative progression takes a less subtle approach. Chapter 10's a lot closer in spirit to a Fates or Three Houses map. It tests how well you've built your team, and Saline Nosferatu tanking or Amber one-rounding Hyacinth aren't something every team can manage. That's not a new normal though, it's pride going before a fall. As Alir falls to their knees in Dystonia Cathedral, despairing at the loss of their friends, the game's about to show you how justified that lamentation is. Going from chapter 10 to 11 feeling the double whammy of losing your emblems as friends and gaining them as enemies makes it crystal clear who's carrying whom. Alear isn't showing false modesty. They've accurately assessed how much combat they're going to do without Marth by their side. It's only a few turns, but that break resets your perspective. When Ivy shows up with 2 rings, you can again feel the joy of reading an emblem skill and going, oh my god, what drugs were they on for this one? Compare Leaf's join, which can feel like a dud because it's not adding that much to your army proportionally. That reset gives the game room to keep upping the ante. Every chapter from now until the next narrative climax gives us new units and emblems. As the game comes to a conclusion, there's still new mechanics and tools, and you're putting the final touches on your team right through endgame. Throughout the game, you remain cognizant of how much power comes from the emblems instead of strategic genius or your effort training. The result's a strategy game with a beating heart. A pro-social, humble ethos I admire and hope to live up to in this series. It's not something that necessarily makes for a great video essay, because you feel that heartbeat more than you see it on the screen. The more I've reflected on it, however, the more I'm convinced I wouldn't be making a series on Engage if I didn't think it had something in it worth sharing with others.
Don't stand in my way.
Where were we? The enemy movement here isn't consistent, so at this point I have to actually think a little. Ivy will pick up the rescue staff. For what it's worth, the southeast village contains an elixir. It's there to warn you of what'll happen to this village. Aspiring hero would be nice, but it doesn't pan out. I did get Chloé's B support with Recreation for exactly this reason.
At your service. Oh no! I'll tell my Nana to hide. Use this to beat the bad guys. Me first! My turn!
Yeah! That's the stuff!
I'll help.
Thank you for the dance.
I mess up here. I also got unlucky, but that's not very sporting of me to say. So I rewind to fix it. While I was rambling, I missed Anna doing some cool stuff, using the Hurricane Axe on enemy phase against a Greataxe after a Dark Inferno, and using Soar's Expiration to teleport onto the energy tile. You have to be careful with that if you're following along. I believe it uses the same order as other tiebreakers in the game, but it's worth making sure you aren't going to Strange or Camilla user. Another thing to note is that Dark Inferno can't hit enemies you can't see.
if I may. You're done for. Allow me.
The Iron Blade dude here doesn't even need to be killed this turn.
Thank you. Not good.
That settles it.
Emblem, engage.
I'm worn down. I beg your pardon.
Ready for anything.
I know just where to strike it. I need to be more diligent.
You're done for. Let's have some fun. Ooh, I just spotted a rare bug.
Time to open up shop. This item is not for sale.
Anna still has a few flyers to hunt down. I'm not sure if I manage a route here, I haven't gone back and accounted for every flyer, but she'll certainly try. It's pretty funny that I had to forge an Elwind on the map it drops from the last mage.
Glad that's over with.
You can't use Illume if it's not dark. I'm getting my XP while I can. Ivy will not be able to make it to the boss fight. Despite my efforts, Timerra won't either. She got pushed back by the Greataxe last time.
Emblem, engage!
It's time to set up for the boss kills. I use this setup in most of my runs. If you get the bosses to stick together, you can spam chain attacks and clear this group in one turn with a wide variety of teams. We move too quickly for Timerra and don't have many backups, so this isn't as neat as it could be, but will get the job done. I was also supposed to use a torch to give Anna line of sight so she could join the fight. You want to make sure the closest units for each foe are to the left, so they move consistently.
Nothing I hate worse than a meddler. You stuck your nose in our business, you'll pay. Oh.
Glad that's over with. Poor thing.
The Oasis is ours, you hear? We've got exclusive plundering rights.
Don't worry about me.
I will never give up.
Here we go. Me too. You're ordering.
I'll do as you command.
Now I'm mad.
Sometimes the sword flyer that was chasing us for most of the map doesn't end up dying to Anna. Citrinne would be able to pick them off with Astrostorm to keep things clean. Instead, she can take out a health bar.
If I may I? Me too. Care to join me? A good wind.
I may be fumbling around a bit, but that isn't to say I didn't plan for this turn. Behold, maxed out Book of Worlds. Chloé with max reprisal will lifesteal, deal 10 damage, freeze the foe, and then set their space on fire for good measure. It's kind of a shame the damage doesn't apply to the next health bar. The 5th stack also heals adjacent allies, which we only got here because Ivy didn't need that contract way back when.
You're done for! No!
Whoa! Engage!
I'll help. You're ordering.
My legend starts now!
Let's go, Amber. I don't mean to be too much of a downer, but 3 houses sometimes works better if you don't have 4 engaged turns. It means Raging Storm into Houses Unite no longer exhausts Amber's meter. His next grab, Weapon Sync, on the other hand, is definitely a good thing. One square off, too bad. Amber will buoy my spirits with more momentum, divinely inspiring gaming. Next video will be the last Somniel update for a while, as I finish fine-tuning this iteration of the squad.
My moment has arrived! Guess I let my brother down. Again.
My detractors may allege that, now that I've finished the 2 Solm maps that most reward a meta team, I'm going to let my personal biases take the wheel, and start reclassing characters in the bad classes to make my favorites look better by comparison. Nothing could be further from the truth. I wouldn't even worry about watching the next video. It'll be 10 minutes of sound logic and rational discourse, nothing more. Bye, papaya.
That takes care of that. Sorry for roping you into the scuffle, Divine One.
That's all right. But I haven't had a chance to say why I'm here. I already explained this to Queen Seforia and Prince Vagato, but the Fell Dragon has been released. He's back. It's sudden, I know. You're probably shocked.
I already knew.
You did?
Mom and Fogato did too. We've all known for a while now.
Fogato, you too?
Sorry. Truth is, our chance meeting in Tula Desert wasn't totally by chance.
Were you deceiving us?
The opposite, actually. I had to make sure that you weren't deceiving us. When the Fell Dragon returned, we had to take steps to protect our country.
I'll lay it out for you. The palace has scouts all over Elios, keeping an eye on the Three Kingdoms. When Elusia brought back the Fell Dragon, we learned about it early on. But we couldn't beat him without the Emblem Rings. And we couldn't use them without you. Our only option was to focus on defense. The corrupted started appearing, so we had to quickly lay out a plan.
And what was the plan?
First off, Mom would stay in the palace. She'd work with the Royal Guard to keep out intruders. And we'd send out our militia, the Sentinels, to bolster soldiers' efforts against the corrupted.
As captain, my job was to watch out for the corrupted near the Elusian border. If someone claimed to be the Divine Dragon, I'd size them up and bring them to the palace.
That's why you hid the fact you're a prince.
I was in the Sentinels too, and I wandered the country keeping our rings safe.
As part of this plan, did you ever consider asking for another country's help?
No, because then we'd have to help them. We can't fight another country's battles. We're stretched thin fighting our own. That's how Solm does it. You scratch your own back, we'll scratch ours. Thank you very much.
I see.
I'm sorry we misled you, but we did it to protect the Queendom.
I don't mean to criticize your country's way of doing things. I'm just surprised.
Here's the most important part of the plan, though. If you did turn out to be the Divine Dragon, we'd give you the Ring of the Radiant Hero, and then tell you where to find our other emblem ring.
Solm has a second ring?
Yep, the Ring of the Crux of Fate. It's in the...
Your Highness, a message from Solm Palace.
Huh? What is it?
Hortensia, Princess of Elusia, has breached the palace.
Oh.
What? How did she get in? We have to save Mom.
Let's go.